Hello everyone! So today in English, we will continue learning about adjectives. Today we will learn to use adjectives when we compare nouns. What is an adjective? An adjective is a word that describes a noun. What questions can it answer? It can answer the question, what kind and how many. Here we have a snake. What kind of snake is it? We can use adjectives to answer that question. The snake is a blue snake. It has red polka dots and it is long and slithery. It might be a snake that smells stinky or earthy since it's always crawling on something. And since it's a snake, it would hiss. So it is a hissing snake. It may feel smooth, warm, and if it's a toy snake, it would feel squishy, a squishy snake. Then what about the question, how many? How many snakes are there? There is only one snake. What if we had two snakes? Then we will have two snakes. Now that we have two snakes, we can compare these two. Today in this lesson, we will learn to use adjectives when we compare nouns. So some adjectives describe nouns by comparing persons, places, or things. Then how can we compare these two snakes? Maybe we can compare and see which snake is shorter. So, which snake is shorter? The green snake is shorter than the blue snake. This time, let's compare which snake is longer. Which snake is longer? The blue snake is longer than the green snake. Now let's compare which snake is darker. Which snake is darker? The blue snake is darker than the green snake. What do you notice about the ending of each of these adjectives? They all end with er. We added the suffix er to the end of these adjectives because we are comparing two things. What are these two nouns that we compared? In these sentences, we are comparing two snakes to see how they are different. Now, many times an adjective comes right before the noun it describes. But in certain cases, for example, like when we are comparing, an adjective will come after the noun it describes. Then how can we use adjectives to compare more than two nouns? Now we have three snakes. Which snake is the shortest? The green snake is the shortest of all the snakes. Then which snake is the longest? The yellow snake is the longest of all the snakes. Then which snake is the darkest? The blue snake is the darkest of all the snakes. What do you notice about the ending of each of these adjectives? You can tell that they all end with est. So when we are comparing more than two things, we add the suffix est. What nouns did we compare? We compared three snakes. So you should remember these rules when using adjectives to compare nouns. You need to add er to the adjective when comparing two nouns, and you need to add est to the adjective when comparing more than two nouns. Okay, now let's move on to our work text. It should be on page 239, Adjectives that compare. So we learned today that some adjectives describes noun by comparing persons, places, or things. And we add er to the adjective when comparing two nouns, and add est when comparing more than two nouns. So for example, Jim's pencil is longer than Ella's pencil. So we're comparing Jim's pencil with Ella's pencil. And since these are two pencils, we added er to the adjective long. Next example, Pedro's pencil is the longest of all the pencils. How many nouns are we comparing in this sentence? Well, we don't exactly know because it just says all the pencils. So we're going to assume and guess that there are more than two pencils. It also shows in this picture that there are four pencils. So that's why we added est to the adjective long. Let's try number 1 together. Draw a box around the adjective that compares to. Underline the noun that are being compared. Number 1. Andrew is taller than Dave. So, what is the adjective that's comparing the two nouns? The adjective is taller. Taller. We're trying to see who is taller. Then, which two nouns are being compared? We're comparing Andrew with Dave. Number 2. The mouse is smaller than the rabbit. What is the adjective that compares to two nouns? The adjective is smaller. Then which two adjectives are being compared? They are mouse and rabbit. Very good. Number 3. Draw a box around the adjective that compares more than two. Underline the nouns that are being compared. Tuesday was the warmest of the past 3 days. What's the adjective that compares more than two? It is warmest. So something's feeling very warm. What are the nouns that are being compared? We are comparing Tuesday with all the other days within the past 3 days. Let's move on to number 4. My kitten is the softest of all kittens. What's the adjective that's comparing more than two? The adjective is softest. Then what are the nouns that are being compared? It is the kitten being compared with all the other kittens. Number 5. Mark how many are being compared. Spot is larger than Mutt. The adjective larger is comparing two nouns or more than two nouns. We know the rule that when the adjective has er, it's comparing two nouns. And the two nouns that are being compared is Spot and Mutt. Number 6. The black monkey is the loudest of all the monkeys. The adjective loudest is comparing two or more than two nouns. We also know the rule that when an adjective has est at the end, it is comparing more than two nouns. So we're comparing the black monkey with all the other monkeys. I want you to finish number 7 on your own. For number 8, you're going to write 2 adjectives on the snake to describe how a snake looks, feels, or sounds. So think of any kind of snake and write 2 adjectives to describe that snake. Number 9 through 15 is the same as the front page. Next week, we're going to continue learning about adjectives that compare. And that's it for today. Goodbye, everyone.